Hey, hello friends, how's it going? Today for the stream, what I would like to do is work on a total beginner's introduction to how to develop MFEK. So, like, how do you install Rust, and how do you install, or how do you download MFEK and build it, and how do you make modifications to the software, and how do you rebuild it? So kind of just basically just all the most important things you would have to know to get started. So let's get into it. So I'm using Arch Linux, but I'm using ZSH. And so this is, I mean, it's pretty similar to a Mac. Like if you're on a Mac, you'll probably have to change a couple things, but it's basically pretty similar. I do not have Rust installed, so Modular Font Editor K is a modular distribution of font editing tools, mostly written in the Rust programming language. And you can find Modular Font Editor K at github.com/mfek. And let's see, and then Rust is a programming language. Notice it says a language empowering everyone to build reliable and efficient software. And no matter who you are, that means you. Like, part of the reason that I was like initially like excited about the idea of having kind of like a performance-focused font, cross-platform font editor built in Rust was that I'd struggled with C and C++ before. Like there's, and then I found Rust and the command line interface, the error messages, the documentation. It's just everything is like, it's kind of like C++, but it's very beginner friendly, and that's something I've always liked about Rust. So we don't have Rust installed, and we want to install it. So if you notice up here, before we can do anything with Modular Font Editor K, so we have to do the Rust install first. You can see there's an install link up here, and you click this, and you'll see this this way of installing Rust right here, and it's basically a command line. You know, it's something you enter in ZSH. It's a terminal command, but this can be a little intimidating to people at first because they see this, and just to do all the work that we're going to do today, I'm going to get into an empty temp directory. I'm not going to go over Unix commands today, but if you would like me to do like an intro to Unix video, like leave a comment, I'll probably get around to doing that at some point, but there's tons of them on YouTube. Just search for like intro to Unix commands. Yeah, you'll find something, but I'll kind of get into doing these kind of tutorial videos more at some point. But anyway, so we are in this temp directory with nothing there, and the Rust website has told us to run this command. So what does that look like? Curl is, the first thing you'd want to like figure out is like curl. What is curl? Curl is, I think, like computer URL, something URL. I think I'm client URL. I even wrote it down in my notebook. It's client URL. And then proto HTTPS, just telling you to use HTTPS. TLS, you know, this is a cryptography thing. So all these flags are kind of just cryptography things about how to download this. And then this is the link to this shell script to install Rust. And then there's a pipe which pipes this script into sh, which is like an old school Unix command from the 70s that just means like, if you send a string into this command with a pipe or something, like I'm gonna like run it. So some people see this as the way to install Rust, and it looks really scary. Like, is this gonna install like a virus on my computer or something? And it is actually like good security practice to, like, when installing software like this, like to actually look at the script and that you're installing. And the way that I usually do that is I just deleted the pipe and the sh part, and I'll put this little caret redirect thing, and then I'll do a let's do tmp.sh. So now you can see in our directory we actually have a tmp.sh file. So using vim, we'll just open that up and just look it over, make sure it's not installing any crypto miners or anything like that. And it's actually, I think that this way of working is really cool because this is a super professional battle-tested shell script. So if you're trying to become a software developer or just get better at that as a skill, like reading stuff like this will like help you kind of like level up in that skill pretty fast because it's cross-platform. It's got to work on Windows, Mac, Linux. Like lots of people are running this all the time. This is probably a pretty well-written script. But so now that we've looked at it, and you should probably maybe look at it a little longer, we're going to actually run it. So we run this script, and let's see. Okay, so it's done all this stuff, and you can read this. I'm not going to read it just to keep this video kind of short. But basically, it gives you some options down here, and you can just hit 1, and that will just do the basic installation, which that's what you want. Like, just get the basic installation, and then once you run, you'll start running into like some errors where maybe a Rust program will need like the nightly version of Rust, and you'll want to come in, use Rust up, and figure out how to do that. But for now, we'll just hit 1. And so now we're downloading. And this is installing Cargo, which is like the Rust package manager, Rust C, which is like the Rust compiler. It's kind of like, if you've ever used like C programming, it gives you like the little binary executable that you can run. And then it's also installing Rust up, which is like a tool for managing your like Rust installation. It's all in the Rust book, which is, so if you go to the website, you can click on Learn, and you'll see they've got a link to the book right here, which is very good. I've done the book like multiple times, and I always go back to it. Like if I haven't programmed Rust in a while, I'll like go back and like do some of the harder exercises in the book, which is kind of nice because when you're getting into Rust, you just know that like the book is like the starting point for learning Rust, and it's having like kind of like a canonical, like this is like the book that everyone reads, like really helps kind of find some kind of cohesion. I think there's some like nice qualities about having like a standard text. Okay, so we're waiting for this. And so this is going to, like, as this installs, it's going to also set up like some hidden directories, like the if you're familiar with like Unix, like a dot file. contraptions that we know from installing Rust. So we got to do this all over again. And just for the sake of saving time, I'm not going to read the script, but you probably should, because you want to make sure it's not doing anything you don't want it to do. I'm going to install this in the temp directory we were in before. Let's just remove that file. So now we've got a blank directory, and run this script. All right, so now we have all these different like little Modular Font Editor K directories. And the one that you're probably going to want to be looking at first is mfek glyph, which opens a UFO file .glyph file. A UFO is not a file. It's like a directory. I forget the term. It's like a directory with files in it. And glyph files are the files that have like the glyph data and anchors and stuff like that. So I've got a bunch of fonts on this computer. Let's try to get this to run and open up a font I'm working on. So we see a change directory into the mfek glyph folder. And so now we're going to want to do cargo run, and but before I go further, someone's gonna there's an error that people get, and I'm gonna show you the error first, and then I'll show you how to fix it. But don't worry, I know what I'm doing. So just bear with me for a second. So I have my type directory, my repos, my typeface print shop. The sources are, let's see, print shop UFO, and let's open the glyph. Okay, so we've said cargo run, and then given a path to a UFO glyph file. So let's run that, and we've just installed Rust, so it's going to take a little while to compile everything. Then, so you can kind of see, so let's look at what is actually going to happen here. So we've got mfek glyph, which is this kind of like standalone glyph editor. You've got all your kind of, you've got some install instructions here. There's some Mac specific stuff. If you are on a Mac, you will, let me move this over here. So if you are on a Mac, you will probably want to download and install the Vulkan SDK. I've done this on Linux recently. It wasn't that bad, but it can be a little. This can be a little overwhelming. And one of the things while this is building, like, I think a lot of people don't really get like why you would want to work on fonts on Linux instead of a Mac, but there's a lot of things that are just easier on Arch Linux. Like, for instance, a lot of designers are probably familiar with, on a Mac, you know, you type Python, you don't always get like like an up-to-date Python. You'll get like an old version of Python 2, where like a fresh install of Arch Linux, you know, you just get like the most up-to-date version of Python. And I mean, wouldn't that be nice for type design students or design students, or if they, you know, if they didn't have to go through all this confusing stuff? Because I think what happens is, oh, look, so all our things are downloading. So I think what happens is, like, people will use a Mac, and the Mac sweeps all the complexity of computing like under the rug, like away from you where you can't see it. And that would be great if like all software was perfect and there like weren't any bugs. But you know, like a lot of times these these systems get very complex and buggy, and there really is something to having like a simple Linux system with like just like this like really good up-to-date stuff. It's a totally different way of looking at computing, but I love it. It's like, to me it's like what makes sense, that you just build your system from scratch, you customize it, you use these like tools that you understand, and that way when you like hit a problem, you know how to fix it. Like, because you know, using Arch Linux, you're like learning how to fix your computer problems, and it's just culturally kind of like totally different. I mean, wouldn't that be cool? Like, so if the font industry used Arch Linux by default, you know, like Python would always be set up. You know, you can have like build scripts, like shell scripts that like set everything up like for a class a certain way. Students could go in and they could be using their font editor, and if there's something broken with the font editor, you can fix it yourself. You can learn how the font editor works. It's super, super empowering. And yeah, I mean, and just look at how, like, I love how, like, there's so much fun stuff you can do with having, like, a fully customizable user interface. You know, there's, yeah, I don't know. And Linux computers are cheap. Like, anyone can, you know, get an old e-waste computer or a Raspberry Pi. I think that's the kind of like class divide that Apple creates, has always been one of the things I don't like about the Apple ecosystem, as it does. Okay, so what's going on here? We're getting an unable to load crate debug utils messenger message from trying to build this. And the reason we are getting that is because we didn't run, it's like something to do with the Vulkan SDK, but what the heck is going on? So we didn't run this with the release flag. So you just type -- release at the end of the cargo run command, and that should fix that error. And the other thing that you should note, because I made this a bunch. Oh, okay. So this, the release flag needs to be after cargo run. And then after that, UFOs, print shop, sources, print shop.ufo, glyphs, and let's go with G. Okay. So hopefully this works. Okay. I wonder if there's anything else I should go over about this. Oh yeah, here's a good thing to notice. There's binaries available, like if you're having trouble actually building it this way, like it might make sense to like just play around with the binaries first, and then if you decide it's like something you want to look at more, then definitely like figure out how to build it. And also I should say, while this is going on, like if you are trying to build this and you're having problems, like put a comment in the YouTube video. I'll probably see it. I'll try to help figure it out. Or better yet, just go to MFEK glyph, and there's like issues, so you can kind of see like here's the issue that I'm working on. Like, so I had this like issue with MFEK glyph. I did a little write-up, and I wrote it up, took some screenshots, and then Frederick wrote this like really helpful reply, like kind of helping me figure out the code base a little more. So yeah, don't be shy about leaving issues in the Modular Font Editor K Git repo. All right, 423. We are so close. I'm just gonna wait for this to happen. I'm still figuring out how to use this camera. I wonder if it ran out of batteries. Oh well. Come on. $4.24. I'm on the edge of my seat. There we go. So now we have this glyph editor window. And as you can see, you can go in and do your font editing. Now let's move this out of the way. So we've got a pan tool. We can use the scroll wheel to zoom in. You can kind of see, I mean, the cool thing about using this on like something like i3 is like you can kind of just configure your window like any way you want it. You know, like you can move all this stuff around. And then the other cool thing is like because this is modular, it's going to be much more easy to kind of automate processes and write shell scripts, Python scripts, like Rust command line tools, like whatever it takes to kind of automate the process of type design more, because it is as someone that's like tried to do it professionally, it is like I think it's like kind of under automated. Like the way that like an application like Glyphs works is it's not really geared towards like kind of like command line focused workflows. It kind of silos everything. There's you can't use it on Linux, which is like the big one. It's not open source. You can't see how everything works, because that's how we should finish this video off, is by actually looking at the source code, because CD like oops, what did I do? I need to go cd temp so we're in MFK glyph, and I can use Vim, and let's look at the source, tools, is it mod? I think it's mod. Yeah, this is the little like tool interface, but so I think so. Maybe I should have gone user interface. There we go. This is what I was looking for. So I'm just looking for like one easy change I can make. Let's see. You know what? I'm not the most familiar with this code base, so this might this might not work, but I don't know why this isn't capitalized. Whatever. Let's try it. I think maybe like guidelines will show up. I have no idea. I've never tried to do this before. But I made a change. I wrote it to disk, and I reran the program. So that's basically all you need to do. Is you need to, like, once you get it building, you can kind of open up the you can open up the Rust code in an editor. You can make a change and then rebuild it and see what happens. So let's see if we get some kind of guidelines. don't see any guidelines, but is this it? Oh, this is it. This is what I was looking for. Okay. So you have the Toolbox Offset here. So let's make the Toolbox Offset 100. Write that. Run. I know this will work. I'm sorry I wasted your time with the with whatever that other thing was, but I know for a fact that this will work. And then that's it. As soon as this builds and we check that it works, I'm gonna kind of end this stream for the day. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave any comments if you have any. If this kind of thing is actually like helpful for you and you want to get involved in working on open source font editors, like hit the little like bell button to get notified when I do streams. Yeah, so you see, if you look at the glyph view now, there's a 100 unit margin on the sides, which is the change we made. All right. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day, and I'll be back tomorrow with another stream. So thank you.